Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here today. And I especially want to thank our next county attorney, Bill Montgomery, for joining to discuss our opposition to this very troubling ballot proposition, Proposition 203. Today, I join with the county sheriffs and the county attorneys from every single county in Arizona in opposition to Proposition 203, the so-called medical marijuana initiative. This initiative will require Arizona to establish a costly new regulatory scheme and user tracking system at a time when we are challenged to meet the basic and legitimate needs of the Arizona citizens. We simply cannot afford to serve another experiment here in Arizona by outside interests to ultimately seek the legalization of drugs. And Arizona taxpayers cannot and should not bear the cost of creating an environment in which the use and availability of marijuana will needlessly and harmfully proliferate. In the other states that have passed similar measures, only 2 to 3% of marijuana patients have serious illnesses, and almost all marijuana recommendations come from a few doctors. For say $150 will prescribe pot to nearly anyone. Most marijuana card holders are under the age of 40, and a large percentage are teenagers. I will tell you, compassion quickly will turn to capitalism. I am fearful of the additional societal costs which we will incur if voters were to pass this proposition. I ask my fellow Arizonans not to be bullied into believing that this is about compassion for sick people. And let's talk about neighborhood safety. Proposition 203 allows for dispensaries and at an unlimited number of indoor grow houses that will become prime magnets and blight our communities and our neighborhoods. Let's not be misled by the smoke screen. Proposition 203 will impact our personal safety and our security. So today, I urge all Arizonans to vote no on Proposition 203. Now, I would like Bill Montgomery to say a few words, and then we'll take a couple of questions. Thank you, Bill.
Well, thank you, Governor. And I'm here this morning on behalf of Keep Arizona Drug Free, and we certainly appreciate your leadership on this issue and joining with every other elected law enforcement team throughout the entire state of Arizona who recognizes that what is going on right now is the perpetration of a fraud upon the people of Arizona by an outside interest group named the Marijuana Policy Project, which has dumped $600,000 of out-of-state money trying to fool Arizona voters. I concur with Governor Brewer. Additionally, in one important respect, Arizona voters should vote no on 203. But not just no, they should vote hell no. Enough. We will not be another lab for some out-of-state social engineering experiment. Part of the fraud that is being perpetrated includes initially the misleading perspective that marijuana helps those who have cancer or multiple sclerosis or glaucoma. That's false. In fact, the American Cancer Society, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and the American Glaucoma Foundation have all cautioned people who have conditions or diseases respective with those organizations not to use marijuana. In fact, at the outset of this campaign by the out-of-state interests to fool Arizona voters, they repeatedly talked about the benefits of marijuana for glaucoma patients until the Glaucoma Foundation came out after having the opportunity to do some additional study and research that the use of marijuana by glaucoma patients would actually result in a rebound effect that could further enhance or impair the sight and the condition that glaucoma causes for those patients. Additionally, and as Governor Brewer also touched on, only roughly 2 to 3% of the actually terminally ill patients fit within the profile that this proposition purports to create for those who could use marijuana. So what we really have here is an out-of-state interest group that has hijacked the pain and suffering of the terminally ill for their own special interest, which seeks to legalize drugs. And what we see out of the other 96% is that population is roughly 17 to 35. People who are among the healthiest in our society and who are being encouraged, not through medicine. That's another falsehood. It does not result in a prescription. It does not result in a dosage. It does not result in the marijuana being received from a pharmacy. It's a recommendation based on spotty conditions at best. Now you can get a marijuana recommendation if you wear high heels and your feet hurt at the end of the day. You get a marijuana recommendation, you got lumbago or a toothache. And that's ridiculous. It sends the wrong message to our kids. We fight too hard in Arizona and in the criminal justice community to make sure that our teens and our kids understand that drugs are a gateway to a hellish future. Why we would pass this and undermine those efforts is beyond any sane or rational thinking citizen. Lastly, in other states that have passed similar measures, they have a higher incidence of drug use among teens than any other state. They also have a higher incidence of deaths caused by drug-impaired drivers than in other states. And lastly, you will see an increase in crime and blight in neighborhoods that have dispensaries or off-site growth facilities. We see it in California right now. Even though marijuana is basically, well, has been decriminalized there, you still have murders associated with dispensaries, and you still have the arrest and prosecutions of drug trafficking rings. And oh, by the way, this measure actually would permit dispensaries to purchase their marijuana from drug cartels. That's the reality here. We cannot afford this, literally or figuratively. Arizona can and must recognize what's really going on here and vote no on 203. Thank you.